If you're a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy or the Avengers, you know Chris Pratt. And if you're a fan of Jurassic World or my personal favorite, Parks and Rec, you definitely know Chris Pratt. Famous for his goofy yet heroic roles, his drastic body transformation, and for polishing Ron Swanson's shoes, there's a lot to love about this guy. However, it seems he may just have gotten himself in a little bit of virtual trouble with the Twitter crowd as of late. So today, we're going to take a deep dive into why and how Chris Pratt is getting canceled. Who's condemning him? Who's defending him? And Chris's own response. You'll get all that here today on Terrific Tens. Now, before we get to the scoop, take a second and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to leave a comment and let us know what you make of all this drama. The attack. Chris Pratt is no stranger to criticism, often being called out for his outspoken Christian faith. Pratt is accustomed to facing down the mean tweets and dislikes from the secular Hollywood crowd. Much like Tim Tebow, he doesn't so much go looking for controversy, but when it finds him, he is unapologetic. So what exactly happened? Much of this began brewing long ago when Ellen Page, you may know from X-Men or Inception, spoke out against Chris Pratt's support for Hillsong Church, whom she accused of being anti-LGBT. Church later clarified their position by stating that their doors are open to all people, but that they do not affirm all lifestyles. Well, that was enough, at least in Hollywood, to put Chris on some very thin ice. Now, let's fast forward to the heated 2020 presidential election when many of the stars from the Avengers movie held a virtual fundraiser for Democratic candidate Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. However, not every member of the cast chose to appear in the on-screen event. Among the few not in attendance was, you guessed it, Chris Pratt. Now, Pratt never publicly supported either of the candidates in the race, but his association with churches on the conservative side, along with his absence from the fundraiser and support for more traditional values, immediately resulted in suspicion of Trumpism, which just might be the kiss of death for a movie star. Much of the suspicion and call for cancellation began to swirl when filmmaker Amy Berg invited her Twitter followers to engage in the highly complex and intellectually challenging process of voting on which of the four Chris's from Hollywood was the worst and needed to go. Other cast members who did not attend the Biden event received no such treatment. Most notably, Brie Larson and Robert Downey Jr., hinting toward the fact that whether it is for his Christian faith or just his smug on-screen persona, Hollywood was looking for an opportunity to cancel Chris. The defense. Many public figures put their political affirmations aside and rushed to publicly support and defend Pratt. Obviously, the Republican-leaning media outlets love the fact that someone from Hollywood might support President Trump, or even just the fact that a famous actor might just exclude themselves from any political activity and stick to acting. Brandon Morse, senior editor of the conservative publication Red State, tweeted, "Chris Pratt is one of the few celebrities I actually respect. He's different, and they hate him for it. I say good for him." Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire readily condemned the attempt at cancellation and took a few swings at Hollywood in the process. Many of Pratt's show business colleagues came to his defense as well. Mark Ruffalo, who is as liberal as anybody, tweeted out, "You all, at Pratt is as solid a man there is. I know him personally, and instead of casting aspirations, look at how he lives his life. He's just not overtly political as a rule. This is a distraction. Let's keep our eyes on the prize, friends. We are so close now." Pratt's fellow Avenger Zoe Saldana invoked Tupac Shakur in Chris's support, tweeting, "No matter how hard it gets, stick your chest out, keep your head up, and handle it. Tupac." You got this at Pratt. Your family, friends, colleagues, and everyone who's ever crossed paths with you knows your heart and your worth. Perhaps the most stinging condemnation of the critics and defense of Pratt's character came from Hollywood's favorite bad boy, Robert Downey Jr., who tossed in a little Bible referencing Jesus' defense of a woman who was about to be stoned by an angry mob. Jesus turned the tables on the crowd by giving permission for the sinless among them to cast the first stone. Oddly enough, Downey Jr. pulled the same stunt on the Twitter mob coming after Chris by posting on social media. What a world! The sinless are casting stones at my hashtag brother, Chris Pratt. A real hashtag Christian who lives by hashtag principle, has never demonstrated anything but hashtag positivity and hashtag gratitude, and he just married into a family that makes space for civil discourse and, just plain fact, insists on service as the highest value. If you take issue with Chris, I've got a novel idea. Delete your social media accounts, sit with your own defects of hashtag character, work on them, then celebrate your humanness. At Pratt, I hashtag got your back. His response. Now, if you're starting to think that Pratt was going to sit idly by and let his colleagues do the fighting for him, you are dead wrong. Chris Pratt came to his own, some would call it over-the-top defense on Instagram, posting a few videos that might have taken this fight a little too far. Here, let's just watch.
How about that flat stick, baby? You don't need that fooling the snake, you know what I'm saying? Just a term that's made up. How'd you get so good at golf, Chris? Easy. Learn to putt. You can actually get good at anything you do if you're an obsessive person.
Well, now you know why Chris Pratt is being canceled. It's your turn to tell us in the comments if you think this effort will be successful. Pratt has seemed impervious to this type of attack in the past, but will the allegations of Trump support be a bridge too far? Or will the defense of his colleagues silence the critics? Now, make sure you're subscribed to Terrific 10s, and we will be back very soon with more Top 10 content. Until then, this is Terrific 10s, signing off.